God's way of saying you don't need one. That would be my thought. Yeah. Oh, that's right, I forgot. That's right. Well, 9:30 would have said she did. She did it all by herself. I wanted to make sure
Is there any way I can get bad fighters? Yep. That would be okay, so a bunch of
Good morning, everyone. Meeting is called to order.
It is on. Take the foam off. Take the foam off and we'll just listen to your face.
Good morning, everyone. The meeting is now called to order, and we have a quorum with all directors present, all 5, and our executive officer, Richard Lawrence, and executive secretary, Monique Jensen. We will start off with the invocation by Ann Barron, please.
Father, we pause to thank you for all the blessings we enjoy each day, for the beautiful rain that we had, for the beauty of the fort, the peaceful place we have chosen to live in. We pray our new board can work together in harmony for the benefit of the members as well as the administration. Guide their thoughts as they work for the good of us all. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Before we do the pledge, it has been suggested to me that we, excuse me, do away with doing the pledge to the Texas flag, as so many people are not familiar with it. And when we pledge to the United States, that includes Texas. It was not my idea, but I think it has merit. I'd like to know how all of you feel about it. Skip it?
Yeah, skip it.
All right, then we will, starting today, we'll just do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We move to the consent agenda for the second time now, and we will start with the approval of the minutes and then the secretary's report.
I need to read all of the minutes?
Excuse me?
Do you want me to read all of the minutes?
No, you don't have to read them at all. All the board members read them.
Okay.
They should have.
Well, we did receive quite a bit of letters and suggestions from the suggestion box. So I'm going to take a moment to read all of those. The first one is an email that I received, and it says, Fort Clark Springs is not a tourist attraction. We are a unique HOA that is located on the site of the old historic Fort Clark. The board of directors, admin, and employees concerned should be those that involve the members and the members' rights, not the public. We allow the public to use our RV park, hotel, golf course, pool, etc., but they should pay for those privileges since they are not members. Our advertising should be based on the fact that we are a unique HOA with Fort Clark historical buildings being maintained by the HOA members, not by the public. And this is signed by Paula Diller.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. I do like to read. I'm just kidding. Then I did receive additionally a quite lengthy letter regarding the pools, and it had a lot of other information about other spring-fed pools across Texas. And so I'm not going to read all of that, but what I will read is the last page where it specifically talks a little bit more about us. And it says, I heard rumors that we need $1 million USD to repair the pool leaks. The board needs to decide the course of action. I present the papers to give information only, and this individual is referencing all of the other documents that were included in this. The only draw we have to sustain or increase property values or a reason to be here is the weather in the spring, fall, and winter. Golf course because of weather only. The course is poorly maintained. The pool and the work on the creek regarding the leaks, all concrete pools that are drawn down for cleaning will eventually crack and could blow a side wall. So what? We go natural. The other scenario is we don't draw down and clean with machines. The water flow is enough that drawing down is not necessary. Or we really need to get outside the box and remove the wall between the springs and pool to allow swimming as the other two springs that this individual referenced. And we really go off the reservation of and do a Comal kind of dams and tube chutes. Once again, if you have not been to other springs, then why are you on the board? This is our week under competition, and believe me, I will go to Bel Maria is the other spring this person references, with my grandson to swim with the fish. How cool is that as a memory? Swimming at Fort Clark Springs is no more than a water park in Kansas. So how do we differentiate our brand and get the customers? In the 3 years I have been here, all I have heard is we can't, followed by lame reasons that, in my opinion, were nothing but excuses. So there's that one. What was his name? Taylor? Don Taylor. Don Taylor. Sorry, that was in like the other portions of the pages that I did not print. And then I do have some suggestions that were in the suggestion box, so I'm going to read those as well. This is a suggestion. Board members need to be more prepared for meetings. A sergeant of arms would be nice to hold down our discussions among attending members during the meetings. Respond to all comments and suggestions to all members. Why does the fort have IRS penalties? So those were those. Is the fort paying for Starbucks coffee? If so, why? This is an unnecessary expense for a select few. What is wrong with less expensive brands? An additional suggestion. Suggest board meetings be moved to Monday evenings, 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. in order for working members to attend. The board of directors is elected to serve for the members, not their personal agenda. There is no rationale in changing board meeting to accommodate the personal commitments of the directors. They should have passed on running for a position or resign if it's so inconvenient. As full-time residents, our concerns are not going away. And then I have more, which we're excited about. We're excited to have all of these concerns and suggestions. So this one has 3 suggestions on one sheet. Number 1, Need Creek cleanup looks bad. Whatever happened to county grant to do it? Thanks, glad to help. she put in a work order for the treadmill in the gym that quit working last week. Number 2, also AC in gym area or more equipment to teen center to Gorgas room that is only used for 1 hour every quarter by gun club. Just some ideas. Number 3, suggestion box needs to be away from the plant. You cannot see it or open it from that spot. Thank you. And then here's some more suggestions. Members need to be reminded to break down their cardboard. This would save employees time and space in vehicle picking it up. Suggest cardboard left and member put on a list to notify them of rules when failing to break down cardboard. There is a need for a continental breakfast at the motel. This can be done in the lobby area at Dickman Hall by bar area. Serve coffee or milk, cereal, pastries, etc. as suggestions. We would be willing to provide a small refrigerator for use of refrigerator items for the breakfast items, open 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Office staff can rotate while performing office duties off-site of the building. This is doable and very important for motel patrons. Those were all of the suggestions and concerns.
Thank you for that report. Debbie, the treasurer's report.
Our reconciled bank. Our reconciled bank statements as of April the 30th, 2018. Del Rio banks would be the Texas Community Credit Card account, $13,391.96. Texas Community Checking account, $22,556.82. The Community Money Market account, $2,664.96. Bracketville Bank and Trust, General Fund, $118,228.14. Payroll, Bank and Trust, $5,028.13. Restricted Fund, $425,732.20. The Los Morris, $1,318.63, for a subtotal of $588,920.84. Fort Clark Historic Building Preservation Fund, $18,645.53. Fort Clark Hail Damage Repair Fund, $24,194.71. For a grand total of $631,761.08. For the month of April, our actual figures are $77,380.39 was taken from the Texas Community Credit Card account to the Texas Community Checking account, and $66,500 transferred from Bank and Trust General account to Bank and Trust Payroll account, for a total operating expense for April totaling $143,880.59. And this was $2,119,000.61 less than we projected.
Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate clarifying the dollar amounts where they're being transferred from and to. That's very helpful. Thank you. And with that, we will move over to Richard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, in front of you, you have items that did not make it into your packet. They include a security report, an RV park report, the Historical Preservation Committee's minutes of their meeting, additional material which is intended for discussion in item 10B, and also the Golf Committee report. I've also provided for you a little bit of a budget analysis. That's in the materials that I provided to you today. Just to hit a few of the highlights, our projected income, our actual income is some $267,000 more than what was projected at this point in time. The motel income continues to run short by about $38,000 less than we had anticipated. And keep in mind that we have also closed the motel for 2 weeks, each building for 2 weeks, so that we may do the motel plumbing repairs, which, by the way, is coming along rather nicely. The work has been done in Bullis, and they are in the midst of finishing up with Patton Hall. The next step will be to move on to the replacement of the doors and locks, and then we will begin, I think, doing some cosmetic work. We'll keep you informed as we go along. Speaking of motel, I'll just also point out to you that our motel staff, Mr. Guzman, has made arrangements for some customer service training, which we all know is very badly needed, and we're kind of excited about that. Let's see here. You'll notice on the budget analyses that the RV park is generating a healthy $49,000 more than we had anticipated, and I think that as we go through the summer, that amount should increase. Under swim park revenue, you'll notice it's about $2,700, $2,800 short of what we anticipated, but keep in mind, the budget is merely a snapshot in time. And you'll see that reverse as we go into the swim park season, which begins this Memorial Day weekend. Golf course revenue is within $1,250 of the projected income. That's not bad. In terms of expenses, under electricity, you see a $27,000 shortfall for this by this time of the year, short of what we anticipated. You'll recall that I raised a red flag on that last time we met, and with Ms. Isaac's help, we have discovered some issues with the electricity bills, and those are being dealt with. Health insurance, my figures, you'll see there $85,000. That includes the April payment that was made. And even though that is true, my figures are not jiving with the CPA's figures. And so I need to get with him this week to discuss that as well. I think it has to do with the fact that Blue Cross, we continue with Blue Cross for another month or so into the current fiscal year, and I'm not sure where he put those payments.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I have to take a look and see. Contract services, you'll see $25,000 more than we anticipated. At least half of that would be payment for the bookkeeping, the accounting work. We've already paid some $25,000. We had only budgeted $24,000, and we're into the 7th month. We still have several months to go. So that would account for a good portion of that $25,000, and then there's some other minor things that have to be looked at as well. Under the building maintenance and repair, you'll see we did not budget anything for that initially because we were looking at making these improvements using other funds. That $19,000 includes some $12,000 in a roofing repair. Also another $600 or $700 for RV park improvements, and $3,800 for the materials needed for the motel plumbing repairs. So what we will be doing towards the end of the year is transferring funds to reimburse the general fund, and that should all balance out pretty well. The gas and oil is running $5,000 over what we expected. Ms. Isaacs and I think, are gonna have to really study that. We're gonna look at the golf maintenance, to see whether or not it has been miscoded. We should be able to determine that pretty quickly. The auditing, you see where that shows at $12,000 over what we anticipated. Well, remember that we paid a lump sum of some $32,000. So when the budgeted amount is divvied over 12 months, it's going to show a negative number there because of the lump sum payment. That being said, it would appear that we're $100,000 over expenses anticipated, but it's for those reasons that, again, keep in mind that this is prorated over 12 months. Even so, our expenses, our income exceeds our expenses by $165,000. Aside from that, on a lighter note, our earless spot-tailed lizards refused to show. They didn't get the memo, and actually, Dr. Leduc tells me that the weather affected them. Apparently, they didn't like the weather that day, so they stayed in their houses. I don't know where lizards live, but they did find 2 adult male coach whip snakes out near the airport, and they found a large ribbon snake out by a red bridge, so they were happy. They found some reptiles, creepy crawling things. They're coming back. They want to do this again because they earnestly believe that with the proper weather, they're going to be able to spot-tailed lizards.
Did they consider maybe the snakes ate the lizards?
I didn't ask them that, but it's worth looking into. And so now we are becoming quite the place for wildlife exploration, I guess, and study, because we have a graduate student coming to us from Texas State University. He wants to study the Rio Grande cooter turtle. And I don't even know what that is, but he says we have them and he'd like to come play with them. So, and with respect to the item 10B, I'll make some comments about that just to give you some additional information. That's my report.
Thank you, Richard. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I got a question.
Oh. Okay, go.
So my question is regarding the motel cosmetic work. A while back, we talked about possibly including the committees and allowing committees to have a motel room to decorate within a budgeted allowance. Is that something that you are going to consider doing?
I remember that you mentioned that to me, but I didn't get anything from the board, so if
So
the
this
board
is a
wants to do
board
that,
action?
yeah.
Okay.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Well, then I would say maybe at our next meeting, we can talk about that, and I'll send everyone an email.
If you'd like it on the agenda, you just need to ask.
Yep, then we'll do that. So I would say stand by until we talk about that more then. Thank you.
Well, I may not stand by, we have to move, but as far as your decorating goes,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
I have something to say about that, because I'm construction superintendent, and if we get into a lot of different kinds of decorations, it's gonna cost us more money. If we, how many, are we talking about just doing one room right this minute?
That's the plan right now, I believe, is to do one room
One
as a sample for the board to look at and to either approve or reject, to do them all that way.
I think that would be the thing to do. I don't know how many motels you stayed in lately, but When you go into them, you go into one room, you think you're in the other one, because they're all exactly the same. And it's, the reason why is because of the funding. When you buy bedspreads and you can buy them all exactly the same, or pictures to hang on the wall, or the paint to paint on the walls. You can buy it in bulk cheaper than you can decorating each one of them. So it's something to keep in your, always in the back of your mind when you're designing one of these rooms.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and explain what I was talking about with them. Just it'll take really like 5 seconds.
This would be something to discuss further when we have it on the agenda.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
think so too.
Thank you, John and Maria. Now,
I'm done.
can I have the motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further comments? All in favor? Unanimous. On the committee reports, I'd like to ask anyone giving a committee report to please come up to the microphone and give the report there so that everyone can hear the report. Last month I erred by not doing that, asking for that, so I'm trying to correct it. The airport committee would be first.
I have the report. I have the airport committee report. I'm just going to read it. Scheduled airport fly-in on April 21st. It took place, but bad weather across the state of Texas limited the turnout. One Fort Clark member from Fort Worth hangared his airplane for about a week. On April 28th, the University of Texas, under the leadership of Dr. Ludak, conducted a survey on the airport for spotted-tailed earless lizard as a part of the research program. Longtime Fort Clark Springs members Chris Hale and Brian Hale supported the project and provided historical tours of the Patton House. Additional members of the group, and then he lists the group, and they did not find any lizards. Additional work was done to the hangar doors, completing repairs started in March. These repairs were necessary to ensure the doors' conditions did not deteriorate any further. With a little bit of rain recently received on the fort, we're going to start mowing the runways again. Stan will be gone for most of the remaining summer until late October. So he says, should anyone need to have any action taken, please contact Maria Perkins in my stead. And that's just as board liaison.
Thank you. Architectural. Anyone here from the architectural committee? No? The equine committee?
Good morning.
One?
I just wanted to let you know that we have completed the carpentry and the painting of our first stall. We have not finished the wiring yet because it's still up for discussion as to how we're going to do that. I would like to, at some point, Mr. Lawrence, meet with you because a new idea has come to light and we could bat it around, and we want to do some research, figure out what the numbers would be to do it. It might be beneficial, it might not. Debbie and I have spoken about it, and as long as the safety of the horses is maintained, that's the important part. And we'd love to invite any of you to come and see. It looks really cool. It's very amazing to see one done. So it's painted, and it's awesome. I mean, it's so nice we don't even want to put a horse in it because it's going to get dirty.
And that work was done by?
It was done by Steve Giblin and Russell Knoll. My husband is their the gopher. Thank you. Yes, he's the gopher, and the two of us paint them. Sean and I paint them, and they just came out. I mean, they're painted light gray and green. It's awesome.
Those are the original colors, were they not?
Correct. Yes. That's it.
Thank you. Golf committee.
I guess I've got those notes also for the time being. They did meet on May the 9th. They did have a quorum with David Mann, Lou Green, and Trent Brown. The meeting was called to order by David Mann. They discussed the structure and importance of a golf committee, and I think they're going to be working on that process in the near future. We would like to start back up the bi-weekly or every 2-week
Yes.
golf course maintenance issue, and they have elected that Trent Brown be put on that committee. And then if there are issues that need to be talked about, then he can leave, and any other employee issues can be talked about after he leaves. They talked about the Happy Cervantes tournament, trying to plan it for sometime in October. Right now, they're checking with other courses so we don't conflict with another tournament going on whatever weekend they decide to go with. They'd like to go back to a two-day tournament with that. We do have the end of the month golf tournament on the 26th of May, and then a Memorial Day tournament on May the 28th. I also presented a check to you yesterday, or to the fort, not to you, but for the Los Morris money that came in. And with the golf tournament, with what we handed you there, the cart sales, the trail fees, and the motel, my estimates are that brought in around $3,326. And I do want to thank y'all, the fort, for the concessions on the motel and the Friday golf. So we're on the way to rebuilding that big fundraising tournament for the fort. I actually sent all the board members the golf packet that I normally give Mr. Lawrence. I'm not going to go through it, but it does show how many golfers were on the course, if they were members, non-members, paying members, guests, coupons, or whatever. If y'all want to take a look at that and have any questions, please just get back with me.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate all the work. That brings us to the Preservation Committee. Welcome back.
We had our meeting on May 9th, and we had a quorum, and we elected all our officers. And tomorrow is our first field trip. The group's going out to look at buildings. We have about 4 projects we want to look at and see what's most important. Debbie's sort of in the background nurturing us, so if you want to come for the field trip, Debbie, you're welcome. And other than that, we're starting to move forward with that. All relatively new people, so we kind of like to feel our way around here.
What we're going to do on the financial part of that, I think, is where Randy and I actually reconciled the accounts back 3 or 4 months ago. We have not received any idea of what kind of funds are going back in there again. We do need those on a monthly basis, but I'm going to go back and just create another spreadsheet starting from that day forward. And then yearly, they can be put into the big spreadsheet where we've been keeping all of it from 2008.
And those are numbers he can provide, yes?
Yes, yes. So I don't think they need to be conglomerated with all that other stuff, but just start with the new reconciled balances from this year.
Thank you.
Would you get with me later, because I need to refer a little problem to the Preservation Committee?
Okay.
Thank you again. Recreation? No. Recycling?
I don't have much new to report on recycling, except that this is my last recycling report. I have decided to resign after 10 years, almost 11 years of doing it. Helena McBride is going to be taking over. She will organize the volunteers, the paperwork, the shipping, etc. going forward. I was kind of hoping she'd be here today. She is. Where are you? There you are. Stand up. Come on.
What do I need to do?
Just stand up and be recognized, because from now on, you get to do this.
How wonderful it is.
Yeah. Anyway, I am redoing the volunteer call list because I've been using the same list for 10 years and it's a bit of a mess. But I wish every good thing for recycling going forward. It's been a pleasure to be involved. And I'm tired. Thank you.
Judy,
Thank you.
thank you very much for your many years of hard work and service. I think we all appreciate it, and let's give her a hand. And Helena, thank you for stepping forward and being willing to take the reins. Okay, Community Council.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let's see, our community council doesn't meet again until September, but we are currently working on our summer schedule for the outdoor movie. Our first one is set for May 26th for Memorial Weekend, and we're looking at Jumanji, but we haven't made a decision yet. The only other thing I have is a letter that was given to read to the board. Dear FCSA Board of Directors and Mr. Lawrence, my name is Allison Watkinson, and I'm a 5th grade teacher at Jones Intermediate. I'm a member in good standing of Fort Clark Springs, and I'm treasurer of the Community Council. I work in the same hallway with the 4th grade teachers and students. I was shocked to hear of a $150 fee for the use of the FCS pool for 4th grade students on May 22nd. Here are some of the facts and figures of which I am aware. The pool does not officially open until Memorial Weekend. No lifeguards, no one to verify membership or collect usage fees. Of the three fourth grade teachers, 2 are Fort residents, actual homeowners, and the 3rd is a family membership. A minimum of 17 students are residents of the fort. A minimum of 3 more students have family memberships. 46 children total are expected to attend on May 22nd. Additional parents will be attending to help supervise. If each of those folks who have a membership were to sign in one other person as a guest, all 46 children would be covered. At a $3 fee for non-member guests, this would come to $69. The 4th grade has been charged $150. I assume the additional charges are to cover the cost of a lifeguard for their 3-hour visit to the pool. Teachers are very cognizant of leaving a facility in better condition than they found it, so while an additional trash pickup may be needed, the trash will be in trash containers. It is also possible toilet paper may need to be restocked in the bathrooms, but isn't that what the non-member fee covers? Mr. Lawrence spoke of building bridges between Raggedville and Fort Clark Springs. As a very active member in both communities, I am truly embarrassed by what I consider to be an exorbitant fee for the use of my pool for my school community. Please explain to me the error in my thinking. Sincerely, Allison Watkinson. And that's all I have for community.
I would like to address this, if I may.
Certainly.
I have no problem with the board setting forth changes, but for the last 30 years, we have set a preference that these schools, all the area schools, have been coming and not paying. And I think that where we made our mistake was if we want to change something like that, that we need to send out letters to the area schools and tell them that in 2019, this is going to be our, to keep them having to go up on assessments, we're going to have to cover some of our charges, and we're going to increase or collect these fees on different entities that we're going to be doing, and the swimming pool is one of them. But to change it right before the end of the school, I think was a major mistake. Not good public relations with the schools, and it's kind of like what Rio Grande Electric did to our electric bill. Just without the blue, we're going to raise you 18%. And I know what kind of emails and everything went out for that, and I don't see any difference in what we did and what Rio Grande Electric did. So I'm going to ask the board to take that in consideration and look that we have been doing this for 30 years, trying to build good relationships with all the schools in the area. And It just didn't happen. We didn't make friends, and we need all the friends we can get. And that's all I got to say about it.
John, where does the 30 years come from? I understand that a few years back, the schools did pay. But this is
Well, I
something-
understand in 1973 they was coming and not paying.
They were.
So,
It's not,
and I know several schools come last year and the year before and didn't pay.
the last few years, I know they didn't pay. I've
So,
heard that, but on the other hand, it was never brought before the board or approved.
well, I understand.
Which, if our facility was going to be allowed to be used at no cost by an outside group, it should have been brought before the board
I'm
to
not
vote
saying,
on.
I'm not saying that.
No, but-
I'm saying that if that's what we want to do, then we need to be sure that the public understands it and how we want to do it, and this is what the charge is going to be, so they can put it into their budget. Not just throwing it out on them, out of the blue. And that's all I got to say about it.
I guess the only thing I would say is we're a private residential community, and it might have been a stretch for them to assume they could use our facilities at no
I
cost.
don't know that that would be a stretch because it's been happening. Several schools have
Any
been
other
coming
comments?
and not paying.
Not right now, I can argue about it now. They have a goal.
Okay.
And you see it.
All right. Go ahead.
The only thing I want to say about it, we have been a 10-year plan out here to bring the fort up, do some repairs, buy some new equipment, and we have to figure out how we're going to pay for all these repairs and these things.
Oh, I agree.
And every time the comment about raising my rates comes up, then we get all the membership. So as a board, this is me as your treasurer talking, we're gonna have to find ways to take the burden off of the full membership. So charging outsiders for what we pay for is one of the things.
I agree.
The motel renovations, are we gonna raise the rates on the motel once we start doing those renovations?
We don't have to.
RV park, we need it done to bring in revenue, so it's not that we're picking on any one group, but we've got to figure out ways without raising memberships.
Oh, I
That's all
agree
I've got to say.
100%. I think I said that. And I think that we do need to look at every way to make money. But I just don't know that it was the right way to do it without notice.
I do have one comment as well. The county pool, you have to pay to use that county pool. So, because I did know about all of this, I did call the county and I asked the county, hey, if I want to host a party for my kindergartners who are graduating, how much is that going to cost me? And it was about $250 to do that. So I don't see why, and I understand your position completely about the notice and whatnot, but at the same time, we should not be cheaper as a private entity than a public entity.
No, we need to figure out how to make money.
And
If we
yes,
don't, then we have to raise assessments.
which we have all decided we're not really for
That's
trying to
right.
do,
None of us
so.
want to do that. So, no, I have no problem at all with charging anybody to come on in, but I think that we need to make it sound like it's a welcoming thing, and we want you to come, but we have to charge you this kind of money, and we have to give them notice. That's all I'm saying. We cannot just pull a Rio Grande Electric and say, hey, your bill's going up 18%.
18 and a half.
That's right. But they are gonna have a public hearing on it, and we didn't even have a public hearing on the swimming.
We did have a public hearing or change in
I
the
think our organization is a little bit different than Rio Grande
I
Electric.
understand that, I'm just making a point.
All right, point taken.
Okay, it wasn't handled properly.
We're going to move to member comments on action items, but before we do, I'd like to just ask regarding all the committees, if any committee chairs that are here or watch this film could make a list of their committee members, the term and the expiration of that term, and turn that into the administration office for us, that would be appreciated. Some of these committees, at least I don't even know who's on them or how many are on them or when their terms expire. So if we could get that and get that in order, I'd appreciate it. So next, member comments. Any member that has comments on any of the action items, please come forward to the microphone. Going once, going twice. All right, our first one is consideration for appointment of an ad hoc committee to review and recommend revisions to Fort Clark Springs Association rules and regulations. We're not appointing the members here, we're just creating the committee. Monique, do we have volunteer sign-up sheets?
They're at the back of the room, yes.
We have sheets in the back of the room. Anyone that's willing to volunteer for any of these comments, it would be, or committees, it would be really appreciated if you sign up back there, and we will collect them, and we'll continue to collect them and have them at the front counter also. So can we have a motion to create an ad hoc committee to review and recommend revisions to the rules and regulations?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Do we have any discussion at this time? All in favor? Okay. Next, consideration for appointment of an ad hoc committee to develop and recommend policies related to persons renting residential properties on Fort Clark. And again, it's the same situation. We're just creating the committee.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. Discussion. All in favor?
I have a question. Sorry.
Am I too fast for you, Mary?
You are very fast. Be more turtle-like, please.
Go ahead.
I'm kidding. So my question is, why are we going to appoint a committee when we've had 3 meetings regarding the rental process?
Okay, one of the reasons is the 3 meetings that we've had regarding that accomplished basically nothing. We came to no consensus for any clear-cut plan. If you can present to me a clear-cut plan on what our rental policy should be, that would be wonderful, but it didn't happen. We had a lot of suggestions, a lot of ideas, but nothing was ever brought together in the form of a plan. You could say, this is our policy. To have the board just take that on and do it would cause, either one, we'd have to have workshops, or 2, if we did it at this meeting or these regular board meeting, we'd be extending these meetings back into the realm of 2.5, 3, 4-hour meetings, which I don't think any of us would look forward to. So by putting a committee together to do it, they can come to the board and give us, here's our idea, here's what we think you should do, and then the board can hash that out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a
Is that a
question.
long enough answer for
That
a
was
short
perfect.
question?
No, it was perfect.
I have a question too. And what are you exactly looking for this committee to do?
Come up with a policy on how we handle rentals. There's many questions involving them. We have some renters that are a problem, and we have little leverage over them.
Okay.
And so how are we going to maintain that? Use of our facilities. If they're renting a property, should they or should they not be allowed to use all our facilities based on the fact the landlord is paying assessments?
Okay.
A number of questions like that that
Okay.
have to be worked out.
All right. I'm just,
That was a little shorter.
that's fine.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Consideration for appointment of an ad hoc committee to review and recommend RV park management policies. We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a second. Do we have any discussion?
And what do you expect, hold it, what do you expect for this committee to do as far as management?
I expect for this committee to go in and thoroughly look through the whole situation at the RV park. Right now, we have what could barely be called an RV park. It would be more aptly described as a trailer park. Are you going to allow permanent full-time residents there or not? Most RV parks do not. Are we going to allow people to have 35 pots of flowers sitting around? Are we going to allow other people, when they're not there, to just leave their RV park there turned off and pay a nominal fee, and our storage lot sits half empty? All those questions need to be addressed.
Okay, I just wanted clarification.
Good, thank you.
I think that's a great idea. I think, especially after seeing the stuff in the packet, like having someone come and formalize, or a group come and formalize what we should be doing. I agree with that.
Yeah, and we need direct rules and regulations on where you can park your vehicle and where you can't park your vehicle. So
And how many vehicles?
then how many vehicles, exactly?
We had one gentleman there that was using that it was spread out over about 3 spots. He added a tent with an air conditioning in the tent besides his RV. You and I were paying for that. We pay for the electric. They get the electric free. They get everything free out there. So, well, I shouldn't say free, they pay their monthly rent. But all those things have to be looked at, and we don't necessarily say they have to be changed, but we have to address them.
Sure.
All in favor? Now, we're down to consideration for approval to authorize Richard and our administration to search for a CPA or a degreed experienced accountant to serve as comptroller of the association. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we do have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion.
I have this.
Is this referencing the job description and that we received as well, or is that
Yes.
a separate thing?
Yes, it references that.
Because I do have concerns with the pay scale. And I expressed those in the email that I sent, but is that something that we can talk about right now, or is that
Sure.
inappropriate? Well, I sent an email about, I'm looking for it, but about what some of my colleagues that are in that profession have suggested, as they are knee-deep in that right now in their personal careers, and what we are offering as a starting pay is high, way too high for what we are. And I understand what your response said, but I still don't agree with that pay. I just don't.
First of all, that starting pay was based on recommendations from our auditor.
I read that.
And I don't know if your friend, if he or she is a CPA, but how familiar are they or that person with our operation? This isn't just a one company operation. We're operating a number of businesses here. We have the HOA, we have a golf course, we have an RV park, we have a motel and facility rental. So we have multiple businesses here actually. We have the Los Morris Corporation, and we also have a mess in our record keeping. And we go beyond just the financial. This also includes records of the members and the membership accounts that we've had a problem keeping straight. So it's really far more involved than just the average singular business. So maybe looking at just someone coming in to take over for a singular business, you'd be absolutely spot on. But I think with what we've got here, I question whether you'll be able to get anyone to come here and take on this problem for that power alone.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought to light those multiple companies. These firms that the pay scales are being compared to, each firm usually is managing between 20 to 25 to 30 different clients, if you will, who have different echelons of companies as well.
Not the individual CPA.
Well, but typically a firm assigns that company or account or whatever to one person, and you're working with the same individual for your records. The colleague that did provide this information to me has 25 years of experience being a CPA and managing multiple accounts. And so, I mean, I understand completely what you're saying, but we're not in a position where we're also competing with San Antonio and or a large place where we have to start at such a high level of payment. Any job here, and I believe I've been told this a few times, any job here is kind of like a gold mine anyway, because you can't find a good job with benefits. So I'm just saying that I understand that our CPA is recommending this, but at the same time, that same CPA probably is also managing quite a few other accounts, probably triple, maybe quadruple what we have here, and I don't see why we need to start that high. Maybe if we negotiate to where that winds up being the high point, fine, but I don't think that we're in a position to say, oh yeah, let's start right here at this high rate, and then if you have someone come in and say, well, actually, I demand this much more, then what are we going to do if that's our only applicant?
In response to that, if I may,
Please.
I'm making preparations to be able to negotiate even higher than the number that you see there. We will be eliminating non-essential positions so that we can afford this. We cannot afford not to attract the very best CPA that we can afford. We have to keep in mind also that this person is not going to be able to step in and to manage books that are in the best of shape. In fact, we're asking this person to deconstruct in order to construct a system. And I want no stone left unturned. I want a capable CPA who's going to be able to examine each and every one of these line items and see where our errors are, where the leaks are, where the problems are, and repair those. So this is not just a quest for a mediocre CPA. We're going to have some talent come in here. And this is not where we need to skim.
Well, when you're saying stuff like that, I'd like to know what that range is going to be. I mean, we don't have an infinite amount of money, and I don't think either.
I'll come back to you and ask the board for permission when the time comes.
Well, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that either. What I'm kind of getting at too is if you're trying to say, oh, we want the best of the best that we can afford, you're now looking at, are we going to be paying someone to move here? Are we targeting maybe military spouses who are here on a 4 to 5 year assignment that would love an opportunity to work on a project that gives them time to work as opposed to stay home with children? You've got to really, I know you're very passionate about wanting no stone left unturned, but anybody who is applying for this job understands what a CPA's job is, and CPAs are used to having to deconstruct and reconstruct based on what the needs of their client is. So I actually would like to know what that range is that you're considering before you even go out there and start offering this infinite amount of money. And at the same time,
I'm not offering an infinite amount of money. No, that's ridiculous. I'm not doing that.
Well, but I'm just saying, what I heard from you was that you're prepared to go even higher. Well, I'd like to know what that height is.
I don't know yet.
And that's something that I feel like we need to know.
You will when we get to that point. We're just now asking for permission to go out, and the board has also instructed me to cast out the widest possible net. I have to have the funds to do that too. I'm simply asking at this point is to set the minimum.
I think that we hired you to handle that job, and we give you permission the last time we had a meeting. If you spend over a certain amount, or you have to come back to this board and get the approval. So either we have the ability to trust you, or we don't have the ability to trust you. And I make a motion that we give him the right to go search for somebody and come back with the results. And then we can make a decision.
That motion has already been made and seconded, John.
Listen, I will commit
I call
to
for a
you,
vote.
I will commit to you that I will keep the board apprised every step of the way.
Question has been called by Mr. Hope. So, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, it passes. Okay, we now move on to the old unfinished business, and there's update from the Executive Committee on common property usage.
John Hope and I myself met week before last. I've continued to do some more research. I have got the electric bills and water bills for all of our rentable facilities. I've got that in a spreadsheet. But as we started this whole process, other issues have come to light. So at this time, we're not ready to do a policy yet on any of the rentable buildings. When we do a policy, we don't want to have to redo it in 6 months. So we're going to take our time, get it right the first time, or as close as we can get it the first time, and then hope we've got something we can work with from now on. Our rentable facilities are the teen center, Los Morris patio, the swim pool, the par 3 golf course, frisbee golf, service club, Shafter Hall, post theater, the golf course room, Dickman Hall, Old Quarry, the adult center. Those are some of the facilities that we can rent and put back into usable buildings. So is one thing going to apply to all buildings? Probably not. Are there going to be some leadways in different areas? Probably. But also we got to stop and think our rentable facilities could be renters, members, non-members, businesses, Fort Clark clubs, schools, and churches. So when you open up this to this many people, everything for one thing is not going to work for all. So we really need to put a little thought into this. Some things that have happened since we first started this committee is open invitations for anybody to come over to Fort Clark. The only person that has the right to do an open invitation to anybody is the Fort staff. Mr. Lawrence probably is the one that could actually authorize an open invitation. So, and then I think there's been 2 or 3 of those instances in the last month. So there's a lot of education that needs to be done. There's a lot of more things to think about before we throw out prices. So right now we're going to continue to do some more research on this policy.
But one of the main things that we want to do is look how to make extra money. And these are all the things that she mentioned are things that we can bring in funds with. And so that's what we're looking at.
One example is the adult center cost us $29 a day for water and electricity. That's $29 a day. So, and I've got it for every other facility we've got.
Thank you. Well, I would like to just make a comment here that, and I know you're probably aware of it, but we need to keep in mind that our declaration, which in the hierarchy of law falls underneath articles of incorporation and even supersedes them at one point. There is a policy in place now for use of common property, and you have to read a little bit, but basically what it says is the common property is intended for the use of the members for recreational purposes.
Right.
So I'll just comment on that. Thank you for the work you've done. We look forward to
And
more.
we're gonna bring it back to the board and let the
Sure.
board decide.
Absolutely.
But these are just these suggestions.
Yeah. You're going to give us your best shot, and we'll take it from
So
there.
where it goes.
Thank you. Now we need an update on the executive committee evaluating management financial software, management/financial software.
That would be me and Mrs. Isaacs. So as far as I'm under the impression that I have to wait until a CPA is hired so that the CPA can put hers or his input into this system.
Right, that only makes sense, so,
So we're gonna wait until that happens.
thank you.
Can I add? Mr. Sullivan, may I add something?
Oh, absolutely.
You have additional material pertaining to this item that I've submitted. This is an email to and from Mr. Barfoot, who has been developing a program to redesign the Sunbelt system. So I began thinking about this. I had to step back and look at the entire situation. And I began to think that maybe we are overthinking this. I asked Mr. Barfoot if he would examine the data that is within the Sunbelt system, and asked him, is it possible that the new QuickBooks Premier 2018 software could handle the accounts receivable, which would allow us to remove accounts receivable from the Sunbelt, put it into QuickBooks, and use that for our accounts receivable. And then have a parallel program which would handle all of our membership data and information, be it a new program or a redesigned program or what have you. My point being, it occurred to me that the QuickBooks program, that is the current QuickBooks program, should be able to handle all of the accounts receivable for our membership. And it's just a matter then of transferring from one to the other.
So you can separate the two.
Separate the two. And he came back with an opinion that it would be difficult, but it could be done.
And I think that accountant we talked to also felt it could be done.
Now, by the way, Mr. Sullivan and I spoke to an accountant in Del Rio. His impression was that the QuickBooks should be able to handle it.
Correct.
Just FYI, that's what this is in here for. Take a look and see.
Okay. During the past month since the last meeting, we had 3 votes taken by email. And as required, I'll report them here. The first one is removal of Maria Perkins from the TABC renewal application and license. That's a liquor license. And she was voted to be removed off of that license for reasons involving high security clearances and things involved. Secondly, we waived motel charges for reservations not canceled that was due to misunderstanding, miscommunication, and just sort of a comedy of errors that created it. So we voted to waive those charges. We also voted to approve Trent Brown to the golf committee, and that was a little bit of controversy involved there, but it was the wishes by unanimous vote of the golf committee to have Trent Brown be the replacement for Debbie Isaacs, and so be it, he is. That concludes that. Under new business, we have presentation of directors' goals and objectives for the coming year, if they have any.
I do.
Why am I not surprised?
I'm gonna sign it later.
Thank you, Maria.
Are we reading them? Do you want us to read them?
If they're not too lengthy,
Oh, not really, but I made copies for everyone.
maybe you could just sort of give us a synopsis.
Okay, so So the vision statement that you sent me, I did enjoy reading that. And since we're all bringing our ideas and our input to the table, the vision that I personally would like to present is that Fort Clark Springs Association will be a well-managed, sustainable, historic community that is safe and offers diverse amenities for all residents and guests while preserving our unique history and heritage. And then I list out a list of how this vision would be accomplished. As far as goals, the goals that I'd like to present are, number one, bring prominence to living in the only gated community in this area by valuing our tangible and intangible assets while embracing our unique history. Number two, revamp operations and processes to run efficiently and enhance member and guest experiences. Number three, trim the fat of our financial obligations to promote responsible spending and manage facilities without increasing assessments. Number four, look at all amenities and make a plan to beautify them to be viable and sustainable amenities that can be enjoyed by membership as well as attract new members and guests. And number five, be accountable to our membership and be able to both show and tell them what our assessments pay for. Thank you.
Thank you, very good.
I got some too.
Let's hear 'em.
I would like to try to get a handle on the finances, trim up some of the waste, make sure department managers are being responsible for their departments and finances. To figure out how we are going to fund the 10-year plan of improvements and upgrades and keep the cost from having to be put on the members. I am not a fan of raising membership rates without seriously trying other strategies first. Bring as much information to the membership so that they know what their dues are paying for and that someone is watching over the financial for accountability, which I think I have been doing a fair job for the first month of being on the board. I'd like to bring findings to the members on some financials. We do not have to state names, but amounts would go a long way in getting the trust of the members. We are doing our jobs as their representative. Make communication and education to the membership about rules, policies, future plans, what projects they as members would like to be accomplished. To help make Fort Clark known as a vacation destination and a place that all members are proud to be a part of. Operative word is members and guests should be paying to enjoy what we have here. Members, guests, rather. So that was some of the things that I would like to see us do. My mission statement is to achieve the vision through effective cost management and sound investment of community funds for the common good. Secondly, we will uphold covenants in a judicious manner to preserve and improve property values and be responsive to the individuals and group initiatives.
Thank you. Anyone else? I had a couple. I'd like to see a new booking policy and streamlined process for hotel and facilities rental bookings as opposed to the handmade calendars that they're using now, making up. You might go from the horse and buggy to the Iron Lizzie. Also, I'd like to see us be able to get our records, all of our records, our membership and financial records in order through the hiring and obtaining a CPA to take a handle on it and be in charge. I'd like to see the RV park improved and straightened up a bit to what the members want to see it, and a good solid rental policy put in place. All right. I will remind everyone again, please consider signing up to volunteer and use one of the slips in the back. We would like to avoid as many executive sessions as possible, but we need to have one today. There was a member requested hearing, and we have a couple of contract issues, one with an attorney. And so at this point, we're going to adjourn into executive session. It's 10:43, and we will reconvene at the end of that. I hope it won't be too long. Thank you very much.
We can either go to my office or around Yeah, I would put it on.
Get out and walk and look at all the goodies and buckies, little nuts, whatever they are.
Okay, it's 11:18, we've adjourned the executive session, reconvened back into regular session. All 5 directors are again present for a quorum, and our executive officer, Richard Lawrence, and executive secretary, Monique Jensen. In the executive session, we reviewed the proposed contract involving television. We'll take no action at this time. We also had scheduled a hearing for a member at the member's request. The member had requested the hearing to be an open session, which we as a board declined to allow. We did allow the hearing to be held in an executive session. That member, Mr. William Hahn, did not show up for the hearing, although he was notified by registered and regular mail. The other item that came up was a request for use of the Duck Inn on weekends during the summer for fundraising for the 4G students from the First Baptist Church. And we've had a discussion on that. We need a motion to allow them to use it on Memorial Day weekend, and then we will get together and decide what we will do for the rest of the summer.
I would like to make a motion that we let the Baptist youth group do their concessions for Memorial Day weekend, and then we will reconvene and decide how we would like to proceed after that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
I do think that because of the fact that we are not a free lending institution, we need to require they give us some sort of payment for that, some sort of rental, or a commission of what they did sell.
For that one weekend?
Yes, sir. Probably commission is better than,
Okay, are you amending your motion?
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
well, we're discussing the motion.
So
Yeah.
you're making a motion.
But I made the motion, it was seconded, so now it's open for discussion. So
But
that's
if
what
there's
I'm-
going to be a payment required, that would have to be added to the motion.
Okay, well then yes, I would like to add that to the motion.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any suggestions for what that payment should be?
Hang on, just, hang on.
Oh, well, we're standing by.
Stand by.
Hold on just a minute.
Now, this wouldn't allow me to even tell you what the electric bills would be down there because that is not being used.
Well, if we were talking about $50 a month, that would be $12.50 for a weekend if you based 4 weekends.
Well, I was going to suggest, since this is not for a month, this is for a 4-day weekend, right? Is that what they want?
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday? Because
It
that's
could be Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So 3 days. I would say 20% of their commissions. I have a 20% commission on their sales.
Okay,
No,
now, how are
No.
you doing?
I ain't gonna buy no phone with that. $12.50 or so for electricity.
Are they a 501c3?
I
Or
believe
the church is.
The
Church
church
is.
is. The church is. I don't know about the youth group.
I think we're being nitpicking with kids.
Any of their groups would also, any of their
in-church group would also be.
Sure, be covered. But we do need to charge them a token fee for the electricity.
I think so. When you get into a percentage of their sales, first of all, now you get into verifying the sales, and oftentimes on those type of things, your markup is maybe about 30%. So if we take 20%, that's gonna give them about 10%.
Yeah.
So they do all the work, take all the risk, put up the money.
What if we just
They
charge
get
them a straight
10%, we get
$15 fee
20%.
for the 3 days?
Yeah, I'll buy 15.
This is only a trial thing for this one weekend right now.
Exactly.
But we don't want to go out there and not charge because of everything we've already talked about in this meeting. So we don't want this, oh, we didn't have to pay anything.
No, I agree 100%.
I'll concede to that.
Okay.
$15 for the 3 days.
How
So
many?
$15 for the 3 days. So
$5
so
a day.
shall I amend my motion?
So the motion would be to allow the 4G students from the First Baptist Church to utilize the duck inn for Memorial Day weekend, 3 days, for fundraising with a payment of $15 to the association to cover our costs. That sound right?
Yes.
Remainder of the summer to be renegotiated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, all those in favor? I didn't want to do this until we got a vote on that, but I'll throw out a question now. What will we charge for use of the old quarry for the sunrise service on Easter?
I
Well,
think,
that's
You got a church group.
That's the church, what, 5, 6 churches?
What I'm digging at, Maria,
Oh, I
a
know
little
you're
bit
digging
here,
at me. That's fine.
is, yeah, you can take it.
I can do it.
Is you got a church group here that were insisting pay for use of the duck inn.
To make money. They're making money from that.
Well, they take a collection at the sunrise service.
I
That's
actually
donation to God.
actually
You'd probably
think,
make a lot more.
Yeah.
I think that would be something to add to the policy on the rental of the buildings and things like that.
I think that's something we need to research in this.
That's what I'm
Back to the
saying.
board.
Yes.
All right,
But somewhere down the line, you have to, yes, we have to make money. Yes, it's just as important to keep friends and not cause, to have enemies. Everybody in this county is a friend of everybody on this fort. And somewhere down the line, we got to remember that, and we gotta keep it in mind.
Yes, sir, I think so too, but on that same token, all the friends of the county, they don't care about that when we're
Oh,
renting
yes,
out
they
their
do.
pool.
Yeah,
Because
they
they'll
do.
still charge you for the pool. And their facilities aren't as nice as ours are here, so I think on,
Oh, yeah, they are. They have nice facilities over there.
well, the pool is pretty, but there's no
You know.
covered shade at all. But I'm just saying though, I understand what you're saying, but on that same token, we're a business, so you gotta be able to, we have to be
We gotta
able.
make money, but,
Yes, sir.
somewhere down the line, you have to be nice to your neighbors.
Well, yes, but that's where you learn to separate business from personal matters.
let's move this debate to the visiting session.
Amen. We got to get in on this one, you're right.
It's 11:25. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I
Do I
second
have a
that.
second?
I'll second.
All in favor? It's 11:25. We've adjourned to regular
John, how
meeting.
many children do you have that live on this
Thank
floor
you.
that is affected by all this stuff that they're talking about?
I have a lot of grandbabies that come and visit.
No,
the fort.
not come and visit, sir, live on this fort every day like we do.
Ma'am,
Can you tell me?
ma'am.
No, sir, sir.
Do you?
Well, I'm not asking you to get in an argument with me. I'm asking you a question.
You're raising your voice to me,
You're
and
on
I'm
the
not
board.
gonna go there.
Oh, get out of here. Just go leave
What'd you
then.
say? Get out of here.
Yeah, that's what I said. Get out of here. Go leave then.
You can leave.
I don't have to leave.
I don't either.
Well, then stand off. Stay right there.
Be nice.
I ask you
Be
a
nice.
question.
Be nice.
I asked you a
And
question.
I answered you.
You didn't answer my question. You have no children. You don't even have a residence here. You don't
You
live
don't
on
know
this
that.
fort.
I have a residence
You don't
here.
live on this fort, John.
I lived here for a while, right this minute, I've got kinfolks that's renting.
Okay.
But they don't
you
have
don't
nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it does.
No, it don't.
Yeah, it does.
I was voted on to the board.
We see that.
I'm a legal.
That's true. You're a legal board member. You're
I
right.
am.
But
Why
you
do
have
you
no.
want to start an argument?
I don't want to start an argument, John. Jesus, I ask you a damn question.
Hey, don't raise your voice and don't cuss.
I can cuss all I want to.
No, you can't.
I can too.
You better not.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna get the security up here and have you throw it out.
Because I said damn?
Don't be cussing.
Oh my God,
Don't
John.
be raising your voice.
I can raise my voice too. That raises automatically when I get upset.
Well, ma'am, you need to
Well, sir, you need
take
to too.
control of your system.
Well, sir, you need to take control of what goes on in this fort. The people that live here. We live here. We live on this fort. And what you want to do affects us, not you.
Ma'am, I'm just proud that everybody's not quite as
Oh, well, I'm just as proud too. And we don't have to be friendly to the town. You do because you own a business, sir.
Well, I hope everyone has a great day.
A great day. I didn't see the little.
I know, yeah, Chris is better. Well, you can come over if you want.
Sorry,
She's such a sweetheart.
I always like a good show.
Well, she didn't show up. Good job, Maria. Good job. I really
I'm
think that
surprised we
was
didn't hear anything.
paved the way. People need to pay a little. You can't just
Bad news.
You gotta get